What's going on, Rob Mob, coming at you with another video. This time we're going to be discussing a few different topics of the same concept. Still adding and subtracting negative numbers. We're going to make sure that we really understand this concept and really knock it into the ground. But we have a couple of different ways that we are going to be looking at how negative and positive numbers exist in the real world. So we're going to start with question number one. We have equations about degrees Celsius, right? The weather outside, every morning you wake up, or you might have your parents have the weather on in the background, and you might hear them talking about how cold or how hot it is outside. So we're just going to be working with those in this example. Now, in the context of our problems in terms of these, we know that a positive increase in degree, an increase, means that we are getting warmer. Right? When we are increasing our degrees, we are getting warmer because a higher degree is a higher temperature. So what about negative? Negative means that we are getting colder. So let's keep these rules in mind. As our degrees decrease, we know that we are getting colder in real life. So let's take a look at this first part, A, on question number one. It is 45 degrees Celsius outside. It gets 30 degrees Celsius warmer. So we know on our number line, so we are at 45 degrees. Now we are increasing our degrees. Now always remember that this side is the negative side and this side is the positive side on our page, right? On our number line. So we are increasing, we are getting warmer by 30 degrees. So let's increase by 30 degrees. And what we are going to be at now is 45 plus 30, that is going to be 75 degrees Celsius. Great, that is our first answer. What about for this second problem? Oh, and we're supposed to write a expression, so it's going to be 45 degrees plus 30 degrees equals 75 degrees. So it is 15 degrees Celsius outside. It is getting 30 degrees colder. So what does that mean? Colder, we know from before, colder is negative, so we are going to be decreasing our temperature. We are starting at 15 degrees now. And now we know we are going backwards. We are decreasing by 30. So we know that we're decreasing by 30, but maybe we don't necessarily know how to do 15 minus 30. So we know we are going below zero because we are going from 15 degrees Celsius down 30. 30 is a larger number that we are decreasing by. So let's suppose our zero is right here, 0 degrees Celsius, the freezing point of water. So if we're going back 15 degrees, we know that 15 minus 15 is going to be 0, and then we are minusing another 15 to get to a total of 30. So now 0 minus 15 is going to get us to our negative 15 degrees, our answer. So our function, our expression is going to look like 15 degrees minus 30 degrees, and that is going to get us to our negative 15 degrees Celsius, which is our next answer. Great. And our last problem here, we have a negative 20 degrees Celsius, already below freezing, already below zero. It gets 10 degrees colder. So we know we're getting colder, so we are subtracting. So we have our 0 right here. Now we are going to negative 20 degrees. Negative, of course, again, is on the left side. So here we have negative 20 degrees here. And now we are decreasing by another 10. So now we are at negative 30. We know negative 20 degrees minus 10 degrees is going to get us our negative 30 degrees Celsius, which is our answer. All right, so now we move on to a different example which looks at positive and negative numbers in a little bit of a different way. So Alex has $100 in his bank account. He makes $200 this week at work. He then withdraws $600 to pay his rent. So we have three different values here, and we have a couple of different scenarios, right? So we know Alex starts off with $100 in his bank account. So we have to write two equations to express this. So we have $100 in his bank account. Now what is happening? His bank account, he makes a $200, he adds in $200 this week at work. So now we are adding in $200 this week. And then what happens? He withdraws $600 to pay his rent. Withdraws just means he's taking money out of the account, which is a negative sign. So we are withdrawing $600 to pay his rent, and our answer is going to be negative $300. So what's another way that we can write this equation? We know that we're looking for two different ways, so we still have that same $100 here, right? And we are still adding that $200 from our week of work, from Alex's week of work. So we are still withdrawing, but what's another way that we could write in subtraction in our equation? We're not just subtracting a positive number, you could also add a negative number, because these are both equivalent. Subtracting a negative number, remember our number line, with positive numbers over here and negative numbers over here. Now remember that we are going to be going from this $300 here minus $600. So if we look here, here's our 0, and now here is our $300, which remember is our $100 plus another $200 from work, and we are minusing $600. So minus 600 here, and what we have is that negative 300. So you're minusing a positive number. What happens when you you add a negative number? When you add a negative number, you're doing these same steps. You're still reducing your total value, but you wrote it as adding in a negative versus subtracting a positive. So we get the same answer of negative $300 equals our new total. And that is our answer, is negative $300.